Happy Saturday, everybody. Nice little treat. I'm gonna move the TV monitor. It's easier. But I have one of our weather interns in the studio this morning. Megan, say hi to everybody on Facebook.
Hi.
That's Megan. She is a senior at UNC Charlotte. And actually, Chief Meteorologist Brad Panovich, fun fact, if people didn't know, is an adjunct professor there, and he used to be one of our professors. So she got the internship. So, Megan, thanks for being with us early. I didn't make her come in at 5 a.m. and hang out with me early. She came in around like 9:30. Happy Saturday, everybody. This picture, of course, from Beach Mountain. It's paused right now, but folks definitely out enjoying the skiing and slopes as we kick off a Sunday morning. Let's see if the graphics want to progress. There they go. We have some changes to talk about. So if you were watching the forecast last night, I filled in for Brad at 4, 5, and 6. We were talking about the chance for a wintry mix up toward the mountains, expecting the possibility that we could see a winter weather advisory or a winter storm watch issued for the mountain areas, and that did happen this morning. So Ashe, Watauga, Avery counties and the higher elevations of Burke and Caldwell counties are under this. This is not currently in effect. It goes into effect at midnight tonight. So a lot of times they'll issue this ahead of time, obviously to give folks a heads up with it, which is really, really smart and important, but it doesn't go into effect until later on tonight. I'm trying to get the exact elevation here for you. So that's for those three. Yeah, so for mainly areas, but it looks like 2,500 feet and above in Burke and Caldwell counties. So yeah, so that goes into effect tonight at midnight. And there are some main reasons why, largely has to do with ice and sleet accumulations. So here are your winter weather impacts. This is for, again, those 5 counties I mentioned, Ashe, Watauga, Avery, and Burke and Caldwell at highest elevations. Freezing rain, a possibility, not expecting a lot of accumulation, up to 1/10 of an inch, but it's more likely based on what I've seen from models, it'll be less than 5/100ths of an inch, so 0.05. So limited overall, but still an impact that folks need to know about. Black ice, especially when you have freezing rain, we know is a big issue. Bridges, overpasses, especially. So we want people to at least know and stay aware. Sleet accumulations of 0.5, so 1/2 an inch, definitely a possibility. This will mostly be, it looks like a sleet event for the most part, but any kind of freezing rain or ice can allow for some isolated sporadic power outages. So again, these risks, you see that shaded in yellow, are all low, but they're not zero. So we want folks to be aware. The good news, and I threw this in, is that the wind gusts are going to be low, peaking near 30 to 35 miles per hour. That is nothing for the mountains. In fact, I was interviewing uh, someone from Grandfather Mountain Stewardship Foundation earlier this week. I'm working on a story of how they prepare for winter weather that will air in a few weeks. But we were talking about how folks will go up to Grandfather Mountain oftentimes and they'll say, "Oh my gosh, it's so breezy. It's, what's the wind gust?" And they'll look at their weather stations and it's 30, 35 miles per hour. That is nothing for these folks. So thankfully the wind gust won't be insane and that won't add on to the fact that they could see some of those isolated outages from largely that freezing rain potential impact. So we're going to look at futurecast really quick for ice accumulation just to kind of show you guys what the models are saying. I mean, again, the pink is less than 0.05 inches. So it is some, and it's not zero, but it is going to be very, very light. And these are the colors we like to see on that map, the really, really light ice accumulation if you have to have it at all. Now today, across the Piedmont, it is going to be great weather. We have a lot of sunshine mixed with some clouds in here right now, but a lot of these clouds are high and mid-level clouds that oftentimes still allows for the sun to peek through. So it will be a great day, partly sunny for the majority of the afternoon before we eventually see more clouds build in as we get closer to the overnight time frame. So partly sunny, sunshine and clouds, an overall pleasant day. Our normal high this time of year is around 52, so we're right on par with that. Tomorrow morning, a bit of a interesting morning. We will start off in the upper 30s to near 40, but temperatures will not warm much throughout the day. It'll be a cold rain, cloudy, dreary, and we'll likely be wedged in with that cold air settling in on the east side of the mountains. And like I mentioned, a wintry mix possible for those folks. So I like to show the weekend forecast graphic pretty much every weekend, but especially a weekend like this where there is a stark contrast between the 2 days. By a landslide, today is the day where you would want to get out and enjoy those outdoor activities if possible. So we started off this morning mostly sunny. Eventually we do become mostly cloudy, but through the middle of the day, partly sunny for the majority of it. And as you look in Futurecast, you can actually sometimes see some of those different cloud layers. Tomorrow morning, I would say 3 a.m. at the earliest, we could see a few showers first starting in our southern counties. This is going to be a low that's not really coming in from the north and west, like oftentimes we do get with a normal cold front. This is going to be a low bringing in a lot of moisture from the south and west, but we're still on the cold side of it, which is why we're getting that cold rain, but not cold enough to really see any wintry precipitation. So here's tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. So I think we could start it as early as 3 a.m. for areas in Chester County, Lancaster County, York, Chesterfield. But for the metro, 5 a.m. I think is the sweet spot for where it could begin. This will become more widespread throughout the morning. This is where we expect the best chance, at least to start to see that wintry mix. You can see that shaded in pink. We are going to see a midday break. It will not rain for the entirety of the day. I do not like using 100% or even 90% chance of rain because to me 90% is 100 when it's not raining all day. And the reason why is because to me 100% chance of rain says it'll rain the whole day for the whole area. That will not be the case tomorrow, but even when it's not actively light to moderate rain, it'll still be cloudy, dreary, and there will still likely be some of that patchy drizzle that oftentimes you get when you have those low clouds in place. So it still will not be a nice day to get outside. Even as we see that midday break, more showers and even some heavier pockets of rain come in by the afternoon and evening hours. This model does back off in terms of how much rain we could see, but I think it's still consistent with the fact that we had that first big round at midday break and then that second round at the afternoon. Then once that threat kind of clears out after about 10 p.m., 11 p.m., I think most of the Piedmont, so south of I-40, will be clear. Then the changeover happens from sleet, ice mixing into just snow up toward the mountains. You see that kind of blue-white shading here. That's when we'll see that chance for some snow, largely through Monday morning. So cold rain for us tomorrow, sleet in the mountains, ice in the mountains, but by Monday, it should turn over to snow. And this is a very typical what we call a Miller B nor'easter setup where we see the low kind of progress across the center part of the country and eventually even across the Carolinas, putting us again on that cold rain setup. In the mountains, that opportunity for a wintry mix, but then portions of the upper Midwest and even toward New England oftentimes can see snow mixing in too. So this is not going to be a snowmaker for Charlotte by any stretch of the imagination. It's going to keep that sleet up toward the mountains. However, the snowfall potential has looked a little bit more impressive this morning. I still think the rule will be 1 to 2 inches for most of Ashwaubenon and Avery counties above about 2,500 feet. I think at higher elevations, 5,000 above, we could see isolated higher totals, which this map is indicating. There's been a lot of flip-flopping though. Yesterday we saw some of these blues showing up and then it was back to just the white. So I'm cautiously optimistic about that. However, with a northwesterly flow, we oftentimes will see those higher peaks closer to the Tennessee border. Beech Mountain, Sugar Mountain, areas like Grandfather Mountain, for example, oftentimes because of their positioning, can get those isolated higher totals. So we'll be with you, of course, Monday morning, keeping an eye on that. But I think that especially folks need to be weather aware in the mountains on Sunday because of that wintry mix. But by Monday, it should be less of an impact with just straight snow. Although we do know that oftentimes when you have snow that accumulates when there's already ice, that can still be a bit of an issue. So we'll be watching it closely for you. Make sure that if you can do it safely, you are sending us those pictures, those videos. We love to see them. You are our eyes and ears on the ground and really the ground truth across our 22 counties here in the Charlotte metro area. Here's your Guy Roofing 7-day forecast. Today, again, partly sunny, the general idea for the day. Temperatures in the mid 50s. We see multiple rounds of showers tomorrow. Highs really struggling to warm up. And then eventually that mountain snow Monday morning. Temperatures in the afternoon around 53. Nice little warm up ahead of our next chance for rain, which does look to arrive on Wednesday. I don't think we'll see an insane cool down behind that front Tuesday or Thursday and Friday. Back into the lower 50s, overnight lows in the 30s. So very typical weather for this time of the year. Preview of next weekend, at least so far, looks pretty good. Looks like a dry day on Saturday, maybe some rain on Sunday, similar to what we're seeing this weekend. That is, of course, your Guy Roofing 7-day forecast and your overall view of what's going on the next few days. Leave me any questions, comments, concerns on this post on Facebook. Send it to me on Twitter, Instagram. I'll try to answer your questions. But everyone, have a great, happy, safe, healthy Saturday. and stay safe out there on Sunday as we'll be tracking that rain across the Piedmont and some of that wintry mix up toward the mountains. Have a great day.